Well, today we're going to try and catch one of my favourite species. A lot of people would say that I'm probably the happiest on the river, and yes, I enjoy my river fishing. But over the years, I've had some incredible days, especially with good mates of mine like Rob Ailes, fishing for carp all around the world. You know, in England I've had them almost to £40, and abroad I've had them to £75. And I've always loved carp. I remember I was probably 20 odd years of age when I caught my first carp. That's how short they were in those days. Hopefully, see if we can catch one over £20. Still a magical mark for me. Although I've had carp, as I say, to 75. To me, a £20 carp is still a very, very big fish. And let's see if we can catch some nice doubles as well. Just getting a bend in the rod will be nice. Well, you're joining me with my first brew of the day. I've just settled in the holiday swim on the famous Sitch pool, and I've got 2 days here, 2 lovely days. People say to me, you know, you're a river angler, aren't you, Des? And I say, no, I'm not just a river angler. I actually enjoy this carp fishing as much as on the river. I really do. It's just so relaxing. I like to put my bivvy up, make myself a coffee, get the baits out, set the traps, and then just enjoy it. The nice thing about it, you know, you're not watching a quiver tip or a float. You know, you can actually, when you're carping and doing something like this, you know, you can watch nature. I see so many things. And at this time of year, mid-April, you know, all the birds are arriving, all the birds are mating. It's absolutely fantastic. Everything's coming alive. There'll be frogs around. There'll be, you know, sort of birds mating we've seen the first sand martins. Absolutely super, you know. I'm hoping for a big fish. Probably won't get many takes. If I get one, if I get 2, unbelievable, because they are nice fish, you know. There's quite a few 20s, 30s, and the odd 40, and they're talking about maybe a 50 swimming in there now, which was 49 last year, so that'd be nice. But, you know, a couple of fish, great. The weather, well, typical April. Warm in the day now, but it's supposed to be going down to like -2 tonight. But it's a shallow water, and this sun now, hopefully, just actually setting up the gear. I saw the fish crash out, so you know, we got a chance. We got a good chance. They're just like nature, like the birds, like the frogs, like everything I spoke about. These fish are starting to feed, and just going to sit here, enjoy the sun, and have a good time. I'm going to go for a very, very simple approach on both rods, and the approach I've got is I've got boilies here. They're Scopex squid, Nash 20 mils, and what I've done prior to coming here, I've soaked them for a couple of days in tiger nut juice, betaine and hemp oil, and these products just soak into there and just give them that extra bit of attraction in the water. So if you look at that, it's almost turned into a goo. And these, honest to God, they smell so nice you could even, you know, almost want to eat them yourself. So what I'll do is I'll mash some of these up, like so. And as I mash them up, that's how I'll introduce them into the swim. And then what I'm going to do on the rig itself, which I'll be taking you through later, what I'm going to do, a mate of mine has knocked me some very, very special wafters. They're pineapple wafters, and they sink very, very, very slowly. And that will sit, that will come down, sit there, just come down very, very, very slowly. All the weight's been taken out that boilie. The hook's just sinking it nicely. Down it goes. Bump, lovely. There you go, sitting amongst it. When that carp comes along and he smells all this lovely, lovely attractors and lovely flavours, all these nice sweeties, he comes in, he has a pull, pulls with his mouth like this to pull these in, and have a guess which one goes in first, because these are heavy, this is not, and whack, in it goes. Hook up, you've got it. Now what I might do, not guaranteed to do it, at first I'm not going to do it, but on one I might just give the goo. This is pineapple goo, very highly concentrated pineapple smell, and I shall put that on there as well, on that one. But that goo also puts a nice yellow colouring round. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not going to try that at first. If I catch fish, I'll leave it as it is. And of course the other thing I'll do is Scopex squid, a pop-up, and I shall fish maybe that as well. Not yet. I'm going to fish the squid Scopex boilies with that little different look, different colour, everything there. But this one's a pop-up, and I might just try a pop-up amongst it later. I don't know. If I catch on this, and this method has produced over the last 12 months quite a few fish, that pineapple wafter in amongst other boilies, and I'm hoping that my boilies, the old Scopex squid, a favourite of mine, is going to pull them in, especially with the betaine in the hemp oil, especially with that in as well. That's going to attract them, and hopefully they're going to try and pull that one in its mouth. So very simple, not complicated. I'm not one of these guys that's messing with 5 or 6 different baits. If I'm here for a week, then you can try a few things. I've got to commit myself. It's cold, we've had frosts. I'm not going to put much bait in. I'm just going to put a few boilies. I'm going to put that on top of it, and I'm going to try for a bite. It's going to be hard fishing. To be honest, if I'd not been making a film, it's debatable whether to come, because at the end of the day, these are real bad conditions at the moment. The water temperature's dropped, the air temperature's dropped. Everything's sort of looking for to get a hard bite, and that's what I'm going to be trying. I'm just trying to get a bite, and once I get a bite, I'm going to try and get another one. So I'm not going to fill it in. I'm not going to sort of think I'm going to bag up, because I don't think there's a bag up here. I'm hoping that there's some decent fish in here. I'm hoping for the 30 or the 40 pounder, or a couple of 20s or whatever. I'm just hoping for a couple of fish. That would be great. At this time of year, the fish are just coming out into like the rest of nature. They're just starting to probably scoff, but they've just been knocked back by this temperature. So I'm knocking back on the feed, and I'm going to be really cagey. That's the approach I'm going to do. Okay, the rig I'm using today is a simple helicopter rig. If you've been carp fishing a few years, I've no need to describe this in great detail. This is a leadless sinking Nash leader that I've got. That's about sort of probably 3 foot, something like that. And then I've got the helicopter rig, which that's a quick release for the lead. As soon as you get a take, it drops the lead. And then all I'm using, this is the bit that's very important to me, is I'm using a fluorocarbon hook length. That's around about, I would say, 10 inches, right? That goes into the silt like so, and then this slowly falls down onto the bottom. That's a wafter. All I've done is I've got a Nash twister hook. I've put a D rig on there, a little bit of putty just to help that fluoro. The fluoro, top quality fluoro, will sink onto the bottom anyway. This will be nicely on the bottom. That will go into, plug itself into the silt, which I'm not bothered about. That'll help hook the fish. That plugs into the silt. That comes down in amongst my freebies, which is going to be just a simple stringer today. Important little bit here, on the D-rig, I've got a tiny little micro swivel that you buy in the match shops, just a little micro swivel. And then all I do then is I pull a piece of floss through there and just tie a knot, and it holds it on there. But I then pull, before I put the knot on, I pull it through so that the swivel is pulled into the bait, and that can swivel round 360 degrees. And that's it. It's dead simple. That's a bottom bait, but it's a wafter. So when it comes down, it goes down very, very slow. And the nice thing about this is, as that fish comes over it, just remember, as it comes over it, that is the one that's going to go in its mouth first. That's it. Simple helicopter rig, wafter, decent hook, sharp hook. That's a pin hook. Really make sure that your hooks are nice and sharp. That is as sharp as it gets. You know, that if I try to drop that lead now and let go of that boilie, that would really go into my finger. That lead would just put it straight in. So there you go. As simple as it gets. I do use fluorocarbon a lot for the hook lengths. That's what I rate. That's what I rate in all my fishing. You know, some carp anglers, a lot of carp anglers will use combi rigs and braid. I tend to use the majority of the time fluorocarbon. You know, for my trout fishing, chub fishing, carp fishing, whatever. I've got great faith in it. There you go, and that's it. Let's put it out. Well, here's the most important part of the day, really, and that's putting these traps out in the right spot. I could sound clever here that I've checked the depths and I've slung leads out and found gravel bottoms and God knows what. There's none of that today. What actually is like almost a bowl. It's about 3 foot, 4 foot deep, right the way across the lake. Silty bottom, that's why I'm using a helicopter rig. And I tell people this so many times, you know, a lot of work can be done, or bypassed if you like, a lot of hard work, by talking to the owner or the manager. And I talked to the owner here. I was talking to Ed Matthews, and he said a lot of fish were showing around about 70, 80 yards, and typical of Ed, he's always sock on. And I've been sitting here for about an hour, and sure enough, there's a few fish showing on that mark around about 70 yards. They're on the edge of there's the wind blowing, then they're just into the wind and they're just stopping. Why they're doing that, I don't know. It's a chill factor, it's an east wind. They shouldn't be showing it all. They should be sitting on the bottom, sulking that it's cold. But they ain't, they're showing, and they're probably eating. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it out to there. I'm gonna sling it out. First of all, I'm gonna sling it out as it is. I'm gonna then clip up. I'm then gonna put the stringer on, and then I'm going to chuck it back out, and that's it. That's as much bait as I'm going to put. I'm going to just put that wafter, a bit of bait round it, and leave it. When they pick it up, no doubt they'll pull the wafter in, and I've got a fish. Let's just sling it out. Okay. I'm just over onto that, into that wind. Nice easy cast. There you go. Nice easy cast. Lovely. Just right on that wind. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to clip it up, put it in the clip, like so, and I'm going to wind it back. Now what that's going to do is when I cast, it's going to straighten the rig out, straighten the line out. Perfect. If you notice, I'm lowering the rod down as I'm bringing it down. Look, and I'm bringing the lead in. so it's not splashing. I don't want this all the way back, this splash, 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 splash. There's no need to it. Bring the lead to the surface. All I'm going to do is make one cast. One cast to put it at the distance, which was perfect. And now I've just clipped up into the clip. Now what I've done here is I've got 4 of the boilies, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop them in half like so, and we're going to make a bit of a kebab on the stringer. So now I'm just going to shove this through like so. Next one, dead easy. Like so. Again. All this is the attractor. These are the ones that have been soaked in betaine, hemp oil, etc. Then all I'm going to do is get myself some fast melt PVA tape. I'm going to put that onto the needle, and I'm gently going to pull that through like so. There you go. That's ready to put on onto the hook. Just spread them open like so the water can get to them. Right, there you go. And then we're going to put that onto the hook. That'll dissolve, and as they come to pick those up, hopefully they'll pull the wafter. Well, they will. They'll pull the wafter into the mouth first. So all I need to do now is put the PVA stringer onto the hook like so. Wafter those free scopic squid freebies, bringing the attraction into that area. Down that'll go like so. That wafter will come down, sit there, and of course that wafter, when he's coming picking these baits up, he'll be picking those baits up, and that's the baby, that's the little baby that will go into its mouth and cast it out, and it'll straighten out the rig. The line will be straight. It's so much easier to sink down. I've pulled, checked if it's round the ring. No. And now all I'm going to do is whack it so it goes onto the clip. There we go. Out it goes onto the clip. Lovely. Look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now then, out the clip, or we're going to lose the rod if you're going to take. Out the clip. Don't move the lead. I've tightened down. Just to tighten down gently. Now I'm sinking the line. Just sinking the line, sinking the line, sinking the line. Just getting it into just cutting it through the wind. Just cutting it through the wind. That's it. Now it'll gradually sink. Setting it up. I've got this set up because instead of using a pod, I've got the rods out the front, so there's less space being taken up, and there we go. In with the Nash slipheads. Game on. At that distance, the line will sink down on the bottom. I'm not using any back leads. That'll sink down. That's about 70 yards, I would have thought. 60, 70 yards, something like that. And that's perfect. That's right on showing fish. If they get their head down now, they'll come down on that, and I've got to take. Then I'll recast with a bit of bait round again, and that's all I'm doing. I'm not going to be putting boilies all round. I'm not going to be spomming. They'll not want to feed much. These are terrible conditions, really. You know, we've got an east wind blowing, and I'm just after a bite. And a bite on here could mean a 20, a 30, a 40, maybe the very odd 50 this in here. You know, that's what, if I could get a 20 or a 30, I'm going to be very, very happy in these conditions. So it's after a bite. And that's what I'm going to do with the next rod, exactly the same. exactly the same. Let's put that other rod out. So what I'm going to do again now is I'm going to put the same distance, but I'm going to put a decent distance between them, because they seem to be showing from where I cast that rod, and what I've done is I've lined it up just level with the end of those reeds over there. You see those, they look like white reed mace. What that is obviously dead reed mace, and I've lined it up with the end of those where it meets the trees. So that's my spot. Magic. I know where I'm casting, and I'm going to put one on the edge of that, on the edge of the other side of it, right on the other end, the same distance. I'm seeing fish in that area. I'm not bothered if I land straight on them. They're obviously milling around that area. And let's get one thing straight. When you think you're casting to one fish, when you're on a water like this, where there's lots of fish, there's a few hundred fish in, the chances are that when you're casting to one fish, you're casting to 20 or 30 fish. There's quite a few of them. There's sociable animals. There could be, those fish I've seen, I might have seen one, but there could be 20 there. So let's get that out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cast it without the clip. Here we go. I'm going to cast it out there. It's quite a nice easy cast to it. Out we go. Lovely. Just sock on, that is. Magic. I'm going to clip up. Every reel's got a clip. I'm just clipping up. Okay? Now I'm going to reel in. Now you think, well, why don't you just put the stringer on and just cast to it? Well, I remember reading an article by Rob Hughes, and Rob Hughes is a diver. He dives under the water and sees what's happening to rigs, etc. And he said the amount of people that were fishing over rigs that were tangled, and one of the main reasons they didn't feather down or they didn't clip up. The difference in a clipped up bait, sent out, clipped up, straightening it out. You know, when you're fishing here for days on end, you want to be sure that your rig's sitting right and your rig's fishing properly. And one of the best ways is definitely being clipped up. So I'm clipped up, I'm now reeling back in. Now look, I'm not raising the lead. As soon as he comes, look, now I'm dropped down, right? It's hit the top once, and it's well out the swim anyway, but I can't see any sense in smashing the hell out the surface of the water. You know, I'm after one bite, that's all I'm after. I don't, hey, they know I'm here. Of course they do. You know, they don't do a lot in life, do they, fish? You know, they've got to avoid predators, they've got to mate, and they've got to feed. So they know I'm here. But the less they know, the less they're spooked. And I'll quote Adam Penning on this: happy fish are easy fish to catch. Unhappy fish are spook fish, and they're hard to catch. I want these to be happy in my swim, and then we'll catch a couple of fish. So I'm going to put another stringer on, sling it back out, take it out the clip, sit down, and I can happily fish there for, I don't know, till next morning on the same rig, because I'm happy, everything's settled. And as I leave it out there and I keep casting, I'm hoping those fish are going to get settled and give me a take. I've got faith in the rig, and I'm going to be fishing over fish. Can't get any better than that. So I'm slinging this out, hit the clip. I know it's going to be in the spot where I want it to be. Let's just get the tangle out of that. Look. I'm going to cast it out. It's quite easy to get the catapult out, put boilies around it, show how good I am with the catapult, because I'm pretty good with the catapult, but I ain't going to show any of that. If you want to put a few boilies around, that's up to you. I'm not going to. I'm going to lay 2 traps. That's it. Those are the 2 traps. I'm almost winter fishing, because let's get it right. This lake is maximum 4 foot deep. We've had a couple of frosts. Tonight has got to be a hell of a frost. I think it's down to 2 or 3 degrees, so it says on the app. So, you know, I'm fishing for a bite here. You know, I'm on the back foot. So, you know, as I say, whether I'd have come if I weren't making a film, but I've got to make the most of it. Sometimes you go out there and you think, hey, the weather ain't good, but I've only got 2 days off in the next month because I'm working. I've been that bloke. So you've got to make the most of it. So that's what I'm doing now. I ain't trying to be clever. What I'm going to do is try and get a bite. Perfect. Right on that line. Perfect. I'm really, really happy with that. I'm really happy it's gone in well. All I'm doing now, the wind is cutting across so it'll be easy to sink on the line. I'm not moving the lead. There's a bit of stretching nylon. Perfect. Back. In. Slap heads on. Here we go. The next time we hear that, there'll be a fish pulling it away. I'm really, really confident now. You know, I can't do any more. You know, I've got a nice rig. I've got bait round it. I'm in the spot where there's fish showing. It's in the lap of the gods now. Here we go. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Hey up, hey up, hey up, hey up, hey up. I've got to drop back, I've got to drop back. Hey up. Oh, yep. That was a slow take at first. Gave a bit of a drop back, which is nothing unusual in at about 100 yards. That's about as far as I can cast. Never been the greatest caster, but with stretching the line, sort of a slow take, and then all of a sudden it lifted up and I pulled into it, but I think probably had I not pulled into it, it would have roared off then. But that feels a heavy fish, doing very, very little, just coming towards me. Typical of a decent fish, actually. Nice and easy pressure. I'm bending the rod into it, but there'll be very little pressure on it. Very little pressure at that range. There he kicked. Whoa. Hang on, what's that coming? What's happening there? Like through coming through some weed or something. What's happened there? I don't think it is. Yeah, it is now. He's behaving quite well at the moment. He's sort of slowly kiting to the right, which we don't want him to go to the left. There's so many good fish in here now. You know, you're fishing this swim and there's so many 30s, and the thing is, this is not a water that's even topped out yet. The Sitch is one of those waters where there's a lot of top end 30s that are going to be 40 in the next 2 years. So, you know, you're literally not fishing for, I can remember the first time I came a few years ago and you were fishing for a 20 with a possibility of a 30, but now, you know, you're talking about a good chance of 35 pound plus, and these fish are growing at such a rate, you know. Ah, there he is on the top. I can see him out there. He's just topped on the surface. It's only quite a shallow water. It's a unique water, shallow, so you have to be very careful. These fish are showing on the surface. Did you set the net out, or?
Yeah, we'll both go. One of us will hold the line and one of us will.
We've got a fish that's either on a trailer, on a piece of line, and the manager, Tom, on the left there, and Harry said they're going to try and get it off the snag. I'd say the snag's a piece of line, a trailer, because there's no snags really out there. Take it out, which is really kind of them, obviously. What a beautiful fish. These are just young growers. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Look at that. Look at that for a fish. Look at that. That'll probably end up 30 or 40 pound like the rest of them. Absolutely beautiful fish. Look at that. Nice mouth, fin perfect. In the old days we used to call those almost leathers, and that's typical of the strain, the modern day strain. A lot of them not many scales, but super growers. Absolutely beautiful fish. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's hope we can have another one besides this. That's the first fish of the day. Let's hope we can get one bigger. God, look at that. Once they get away. There you go. Well, there's a great start. Very cold. It's going to get cold tonight. We'll see if we can get another one, but that's a real result. A nice fish early on. First fish of the day. We'll just see the right weight. We'll get the scale set. Zero the sling in, and away we go. Let's get those baits out. And it was 24.5, and the sling is 2.5 pounds. So we've got a fish that was 22 pounds. 22 pounds on the dot. There you go. So what a lovely fish. The fish is 22 pounds. And a lot of people think, 20 pounds as for fun, they're common as hell. Yes, they are on some venues, and a lot of people out there have caught a lot of 20s and 30s and 40s, but there's still people out there who want to catch a 20-pound carp. I was out the other day with a guide day, somebody wanted to catch a 20. So a fish like that, don't decry it. It's a beautiful fish, and I'm well happy to catch it. I've caught big fish and a lot bigger fish than that in the past, but that's a very pleasurable for me in these conditions with the water so cold, as those two lads the testicles will vouch for, that it's cold out there. So I'm well pleased with that. I had that fish at quite a long distance away there, and although it's really cold, I'm still seeing fish out there near my bait. I've had that one fish, but I'm really confident I'm going to get another fish here, one or two fish hopefully, because they're right on that, sort of about 30 yards short of that wind line. The wind's coming round from east to southeast. Still a cold wind, a beautiful day, but it's giving the wrong impression. It's a beautiful day, but it was very cold last night. It went down to freezing last night. It's supposed to go down to freezing tonight. Normally I'd say, what am I doing here? But no, they're obviously feeding. They're very active. There's fish very active. So, I'm really confident. With east in it, with the east in the wind, I'm not putting much bait out. I'm only putting small little pockets of bait. If it was a southwest and he'd been blowing it and the temperature had been coming up, then I wouldn't be afraid to stick a bit more bait in. But I'm just being very tight on the bait, just a few boilies. That's what I'm doing, just little pockets of bait. just trying to get a take. I literally am. I'm not, I'm not expecting a bag up. It's a water where, in these conditions, it's mid-April. It's cold. It's very, very cold. Although the sun penetrates, it's warm now, really warm. It really feels spring, but it's early spring. Winter's still trying to come back at it, and but the fish are very active. They have woke up and they don't want to go back to sleep, which is good. And I noticed on that fish there wasn't any lice, so they're not lying up, they're moving. They've been jumping, got rid of whatever lice they've got lying in the winter, and away we go. I really do fancy another fish. This really is the time of night that I really love. You've sort of caught a fish. There's a few fish showing, so there's a chance. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of fish that are showing, and it's so cold. So, I'm hoping we don't get one in the night, because obviously I'd like to show it you a lot better in the daylight. But what will be will be. But yeah, I mean, it really is remarkable that there's so many fish showing out there, and good fish as well. Good fish as well. I'm just hoping they come on that little pocket of my food and pick it up. But really nice time. You've worked hard. You've tried to catch a few fish. You've got it all together. A success. It was a 22 pounder, but it could have been a 42 pounder here. But just enjoy a couple of beers now. It's awfully cold, as you can see. I've got this sort of blanket on me. That's the temperature's dropping, and what I'll do is I'll have probably another bottle or maybe 2 bottles, and have a talk to me mate and get to bed and see what we can do tomorrow. Delightful. Oh my God! That's belching away, Ross! Ross! Oh Jesus! God! Jeez, that went like mad. That did. God, did you hear that? Oh! Oh! God. Now that feels a good fish. Crikey! I've just been to the loo, early morning, the coldest time of the day. Really, really cold. Cry me hands. That is a decent fish, that is. That's a decent fish. Oh, typical decent fish. Oh yeah. Come on. I was thinking I've chucked that about 100 yards and it's just holding there. Holding there. Come on. Trying to see where that line's going. He's not playing up at all. He's just make sure. I do like cooking decent fish at any time, but it's always that more difficult at night, isn't it? You know, you're trying to keep your eye on that line down the side there. God, let's get the net. Oh, that ain't a bad fish. Oh, that ain't a bad fish at all, mate. Oh, get in. Got ya. Take a look at this. That is 37-pound 10 ounce of beautiful mirror carp. Look at that for a fish. In the middle of the night, cold night, that turned up. Look at it. It's a beautiful fish. Absolutely beautiful. Fin perfect, mouth's perfect. God, it must be bloody 9 inches across the back. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Oh, I can hardly hold it. Let's put it down for a minute. That's made my session here 37-pound 10 ounces. Oh, look at that. Desi, that's it, you're back. Look at this for a kipper. I hope you all have one of these this weekend. Look at that for a fish. Beautiful fish. A beautiful, look at the thickness of it. Look at it across the back, folks. Look at it. Look at that. Cool, ready to go. Lovely fish. I'm going to let it go. It's one of those fish you don't want to let go at times, isn't it? Look, away she goes. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. Oh, great stuff. That's what it's all about. You've got to enjoy things like that. You know, I go fishing regular, but you don't catch fish like that every day. Memorable. One of those great days. All part of the fun. Just like being kids back at school, like camping, it's great. People say, well, it's carping like camping. It is, yeah, and there's nothing the matter with that, is there? You know, if you're going to be down here for 2 days like this, then you want decent grub in you, and you know, that's what it's all about. A couple of nice beef burgers, bit of onion, sandwich, a couple of kippers, a couple of fish. Brilliant. Don't get any better than that, mate. Well, the sun is shining. I'm on some fish, and I've got a beef burger with a cheese topping. Oh man, does it get any better? Living the dream. Lovely. Well, I'm going to reel the rods in, clear all the gear up, and I'm going home. What a session. When you consider that I was in two minds whether to actually come for these 2 days, because it's been so cold. As you can see, the frost on the ground is still here, but hey, it just goes to show, you know, the weather, reading the textbooks ain't always the way. Sometimes just get out there, keep yourself warm and have a go, because look what it's done. It's done a 22 and that beautiful, beautiful 37 pound 10 ounce. You know, put myself about there, bit of baiting, not too much bait, on the right spots, where I saw fish feeding. You know, nothing clever, anybody can do that. You see some fish, you put some baits over there, tiny little bit of bait, nice little pocket of bait, set a nice neat trap, and we've had two fish that in these conditions has been really superb. I'm really, really happy, and I hope you've learned something, and I hope this weekend you get out there and have a couple of fish yourself. You watch how you go. See you next time round.